when you find someone like, you know, Canelo or Golovkin, it's a different kettle of fish, you know. I have to lean towards Canelo.
You're not going to beat Canelo until somehow over a long period of time Canelo beats.
At the pre-fight press conference, Canelo Alvarez didn't hold back when asked about Terence Crawford. Brimming with confidence, Canelo dismissed Crawford's legitimacy as a threat, bluntly stating, "He's not on my level." The undisputed super middleweight champion made it clear that he has little respect for fighters who spend 12 rounds merely trying to survive rather than engage. To Canelo, boxing should be about giving the fans a war, not a clinic in cautious footwork. He took a shot at defensive tactics that prioritize safety over spectacle, labeling them as dull and unworthy of a main event. Adding to the tension, former champion Kell Brook, who has faced both Gennady Golovkin and Terence Crawford, issued a strong word of caution. According to Brook, Crawford is entering completely unfamiliar territory. Canelo, in his words, is a different beast, one who combines raw power with supreme ring IQ and a physical style Crawford hasn't truly encountered before. Unlike Crawford's past opponents who relied on speed or finesse, Canelo mixes brute strength with calculated destruction.
You know, it's a wow fight, you know what I mean? Two supreme athletes fighting against each other, but you've got to sway towards Canelo. Crawford's gonna have to, you know, move up, and you know, I knew when I bought Golovkin, you know, there's the big difference, you know, especially with someone that, you know, fighting a middleweight, a mediocre world champion is okay. But when you find someone like, you know, Canelo or Golovkin, it's a different kettle of fish, you know. I have to lean towards Canelo, but you know, Crawford's very, very, very good.
I think Crawford's still got the legs. Obviously, he's very much got great IQ.
Kell Brook went on to break down what truly separates Canelo Alvarez from anyone Crawford has faced. The Mexican superstar's ability to adapt mid-fight and break opponents down mentally and physically makes him an unpredictable and dangerous foe. Brook warned that Canelo doesn't just fight with strength, he imposes his will. That kind of pressure requires a different level of mental resilience, the kind Crawford hasn't yet had to summon. Brook believes that unless Crawford adjusts his mindset and preparation accordingly, he's in for a punishing surprise. This isn't just another step up in competition, it's a leap into uncharted waters.
He's still got the legs to be maybe outmoving Canelo if he needs to.
Well, I don't know, you know, I think when we look back at Mayweather when he beat Canelo, he's a mover. Crawford's not really like Mayweather in that aspect. It's like he's more, you know, he kind of sets his feet. He's cute with how he approaches chucking shots and moving. You know what I mean? I think it's a different fight to Mayweather, and Canelo's obviously a different fighter from when he boxed Mayweather. But like I say, it's one of them what we've got to tune into and watch. You know, both unbelievable fighters, but I'd have to favour Canelo. Just his size and his experience and just his ring generalship, you know, he's got confidence, he's big.
Yet, while the experts may tilt toward Canelo, Terence Crawford's resume is impossible to ignore. A three-division world champion with knockouts in multiple weight classes, Crawford has built his legacy on timing, patience, and surgical accuracy. Within hardcore boxing circles, Crawford is praised for his elite footwork, counterpunching, and ability to switch stances fluidly mid-fight. However, among casual fans, his style often flies under the radar. Crawford doesn't deliver the kind of chaotic brawls that trend on social media, he dissects opponents with clinical precision. Unfortunately, this cerebral approach has also led to criticism. While effective, his fights can lack the explosive entertainment value that energizes the broader public. That disconnect between fan expectations and Crawford's methodical style has made him one of the most underappreciated champions in the sport.
He's a great defender. He has the most solid punch resistance of anybody in the sport. Nobody's ever knocked him off balance. Nobody's ever really knocked him down. There's only one official knockdown in his career, and it was because he bounced off the ropes when Jose Cotto hit him with a hard shot to the chest. And the referee employed a strict interpretation of the rules and said, oh, the ropes held you up, so that's a knockdown. He's never been put on his back by anybody. He rides horseback every morning. His legs are the strongest in the sport. You're not going to beat Canelo until somehow over a long period of time Canelo beats himself. If he gets tired of all the discipline he has had to employ to make all the money he's made, if he has enough giant ranches in the Yucatan, if he has enough beautiful horses, if he has had enough unforgettable dinners with Mexican billionaires in Mexico City and Vegas, then maybe. But my guess is he will retire without incurring another loss, because it's important to him to do that.
Which implies you like him against Bud Crawford.
I do like him against Bud Crawford, but I do think that it's a great fight. Now, I could change my mind when we get closer. Bud Crawford, to me, is a latter-day Sugar Ray Robinson. He has the multiple skills of Sugar Ray Robinson. He can defend or attack. He has a deep inner mean streak that he can employ at any moment in a fight to get what he wants. You know, before the fight against, help me now here,
Madrimov was his last fight. Spence?
Spence.
Yes.
Before the fight against Errol Spence, there were quite a lot of people in the sport, in boxing media, who were saying, you know, I like Spence to win the fight. I was one of those people who said, no way. Errol Spence doesn't have the depth.
On the flip side, boxing trainer and analyst Brian Bomac McIntyre believes Crawford has the blueprint to shock the world. Acknowledging Canelo's toughness and reputation, Bomac still sees his fighter as superior in terms of technique, agility, and strategic intelligence. He emphasized that Crawford is not just physically prepared but mentally laser-focused, traits that often separate good fighters from great ones. Bomac argued that while Canelo brings undeniable power and veteran savvy, Crawford's IQ inside the ring will be the deciding factor. If Crawford can execute his plan and keep the fight on his terms, Bomac predicts an upset. Rather than brute strength, he said, this clash will be decided by ring generalship, decision-making, and who can adapt faster under pressure.
Crawford, on the other hand, he has been walking down his fighters, and people don't see that but me. For some reason, when I had that tape, people were screaming cap. And it's like David Ebenezer, Errol Spence, Sean Porter, Gamboa, a meme machine. Even against Madrimov, the way he won the fight was by fighting. It wasn't Floyd Mayweather sticking. This guy has been too athletically gifted, and I mean explosive, hard punching, and too strong for his ops. When he's in orthodox, he boxes more. When he switched, he becomes a puncher. And now he's coming out southpaw. He ends you. He is not, you gotta watch him fight. He does do athletic things where his hands and his feet work together and he catches you for sure. But what he mostly do is he punishes and he bullies his op because he walks you down and whips your ass. He's an
Canelo's camp, however, isn't concerned. His business manager, tasked with overseeing one of the most lucrative boxing brands on the planet, took the spotlight to stress just how physically special Canelo is. More than just an elite athlete, he claimed, Canelo's body is engineered to absorb punishment in ways few fighters can. His thick frame, bone density, and years of conditioning have made him not only durable but deceptively agile. The manager suggested that no matter how slick Crawford may be, he simply won't be able to hurt Canelo or make him uncomfortable. That confidence underscores the team's belief that Crawford, despite all his skill, will eventually wilt under the pressure of trying to outmaneuver a fighter who hits harder, takes shots better, and refuses to be broken.
Canelo Alvarez. It was interesting to see the comments from Canelo and how he sort of assessed Bud Crawford's career. I almost feel after the Spence fight that was like an exclamation point on everything he's done, maybe from the critics who never gave him credit. But it almost seems like Canelo was downplaying his achievements. What do you make of that? Is that to build a fight? Because it sells itself.
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. I think Crawford rebuttal was everybody always say, oh, he hasn't fought nobody, or everybody that he fought was a no-name. But I'm gonna tell you like this: what Crawford said, well, there was something until Crawford fought him. So obviously he's doing a great job because he's making everybody look normal.
Not everyone, like when they go against Canelo, I don't think there's anyone else in boxing who you would ask and say this is a possible task for Crawford because his pound-for-pound abilities. And apparently no rehydration clause. Am I hearing that right? He wants full smoke at that weight.
Let's go, man. That's what Crawford wants. He wants to show the world that he's the best. So why put stipulations in there when you know that you can be the best? So let's go test ourselves.
Look, I appreciate you taking this time, and we don't get to speak all the time, so it's good to get you over here, and maybe we'll catch up later in 5 weeks, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Canelo Alvarez's manager spoke in detail about what he sees as one of Canelo's greatest weapons, his unmatched physical durability. He pointed out that Canelo's unique muscle composition, superior conditioning, and elite defensive instincts have consistently allowed him to avoid serious injury even when exchanging blows with some of the sport's most dangerous punchers. This kind of physical resilience, he argued, will be a key factor against Terence Crawford, who is not only moving up in weight but is also considered the smaller, less physically dominant fighter. The manager referenced Crawford's past bouts to make his point, suggesting that while Crawford has impressed against welterweights, he's never dealt with someone who brings Canelo's blend of brute force, rugged endurance, and battlefield experience. In his view, Crawford may simply not have the physical tools to overcome Canelo's size and stamina advantage once the fight drags into the later rounds.
Hope that Crawford didn't get any ideas from Skull. I don't think he did. I think Crawford is a hell of a fighter, and it's going to be a hell of a fight.
How does weight play a part in that fight?
Oh, what?
How does weight play a part in that fight, do you feel?
Weight?
Weight. The size difference.
Oh, no, I don't think that, that doesn't, like you saw today, the guy was like, I don't know how much taller. It didn't really play into it either. But Crawford is a hell of a fighter, and you saw today when they did the face-off in the ring, they're virtually height-wise, they are virtually the same. Crawford might even be a little bit taller, but when you look at Canelo, the way he's built, I mean, his legs, his shoulders, his neck, that is why he's never been hurt. And he's never been hurt fighting fighters at a substantially higher weight, substantially bigger than him, and they still couldn't hurt him. Yeah. And then you look at Crawford, who is a smaller guy, is moving up 2 weight classes, tried at 154, barely won, couldn't hurt Madrimov, and now he's going to go against the guy with the best chin in the sport. That's why probably oddsmaker have Canelo as a favorite. But having said all of that, Crawford is just a hell of a fighter. I was there when he fought, I was ringside when he fought.
Boxing analysts agree across the board that Terence Crawford is a generational talent. His elite technique, strategic mind, and in-ring adaptability are second to none. However, the challenge he faces against Canelo is unlike anything in his previous career. Moving up in weight to battle one of the most seasoned and physically powerful champions in boxing history adds layers of risk. Experts argue that at this stage in his career, drastic changes to Crawford's style could backfire. Instead, they believe Crawford will double down on what's made him great: precision timing, expert counterpunching, and calculated pressure. Yet fighting a bigger, more physical opponent like Canelo means that Crawford's usual bag of tricks may require faster execution and sharper adjustments. It's a puzzle few have solved. Canelo's physical presence alone often forces opponents out of their rhythm. The key question is whether Crawford can remain true to his method without getting overwhelmed by the pace and power of a fighter who's thrived at higher weight classes.
The way he just totally neutralized Spence's strengths was absolutely, it was breathtaking to watch this. So Crawford is a very skilled fighter, very smart fighter, but again, he's never fought anybody like Canelo. You look at Canelo's resume. Canelo fought, now it's 21 former or current world champions. There's only 2 fighters in the history of boxing who have more than that. One of them is Floyd Mayweather with 24, and the other one is Manny Pacquiao with 23. And he's the only active fighter who fought so many world champions. So I think experience will play a big factor as well. You look at Canelo's resume, but it is, I think, the biggest fight that can be made. I think it's the biggest fight the sport has seen going back to as long as I can remember. I think it's just simple. And I've done some big fights with Floyd Mayweather, and I did Floyd Mayweather and Canelo. I promoted that, so I think this one is bigger.
Adding to the strategic debate, rising prospect and analyst Nico Ali Walsh weighed in with a compelling angle. According to Walsh, the idea that Crawford will be physically outmatched may be overstated. He revealed that Crawford has recently been sparring with heavyweights during training camp, an intentional move to simulate the power and pressure that Canelo brings. These sessions, Walsh claims, have proven that Crawford can not only withstand bigger punches but also respond with tactical discipline. It's this preparation, he argues, that could even the playing field. Walsh called the matchup a true 50-50 fight, insisting that both fighters possess the tools to win. While Canelo may bring experience and strength, Crawford has matched it with adaptability and elite-level preparation. In Walsh's eyes, the fight isn't just a clash of styles, it's a collision of fully developed arsenals, each capable of exploiting the other's weaknesses on any given round.
How is Terence Crawford going to beat Canelo Alvarez? We need to talk about it. We'll look at the guys who've had success with Canelo. We'll look at Bivol, we'll look at Golovkin, we'll look at Floyd, and we'll look at Lara. Yes, I'll throw Lara in there, why not? I think all these fights are absolutely irrelevant coming into this bout. Some of them are just dated, or some of these guys' style just cannot apply. For example, a guy in Lara. If Crawford wanted to fight how Lara fought Canelo, he would probably gas out in 7 rounds, or if he made it 12, he just wouldn't get that decision. It's that simple. Let's take a guy in Golovkin. Crawford just simply does not have the punching power, nor do I think he has the gas tank at 68. He's not a good enough puncher to try to fight Canelo like Golovkin. He doesn't have the physical traits even in the chin department. Then you have Floyd Mayweather. While both can have a bit of similarities, the speed, reflexes, technical prowess, IQ, timing, counterpunching, lateral movement, it's just too much from Floyd. I don't think Bud could take much from Floyd's game plan to implement it into his own success in September. And then you have Dimitri. The speed, the technical prowess, the IQ, the length is too much. So essentially, Terence Crawford is going to have to beat Canelo in a way that nobody has ever beaten him or gave him any issues in. I'm gonna tell you exactly how Crawford's gonna fight. He's gonna fight like his damn self. It's too late in his career to change up the game plan. It's too late in his career for him to want to change up the game plan coming to a fight of this magnitude with a style he's never fought before. That will be a recipe for disaster. He's going to be more than likely off the back foot. He's going to be looking for counter shots. And I think there will be a point in this fight where he's simply just trying to survive. I like Crawford. He's an amazing pound-for-pound fighter. Different animal at 168. This is one of the greatest of all time. I see win scenarios for him, but I don't see him being realistic. I can see him fighting off the back foot, using his speed, timing, and feet to stay away from Canelo. But that's very, very, very unlikely, damn near impossible.
Legendary trainer and boxing analyst Teddy Atlas offered perhaps the most balanced view of the highly anticipated showdown. Atlas highlighted the contrast in both fighters' strengths, Canelo with his raw power, granite chin, and exceptional timing, and Crawford with his lightning-fast reflexes, tactical intelligence, and adaptive offense. According to Atlas, what makes this fight special is that neither man has a clear-cut advantage overall, it's a genuine test of who can better impose their style. He framed the matchup as a pure chessboard fight where every feint, jab, and step matters. Atlas emphasized that Canelo's size and body punching could grind Crawford down, while Crawford's speed and ring IQ could dismantle Canelo round by round. In his final assessment, Atlas labeled the bout a dead-even toss-up, a fight where strategy, conditioning, and composure will determine who leaves with the win.
With Canelo's team, Canelo's one of my favorite fighters. He's been my favorite fighter for the longest time. But you know, I have to be Team Bud because me and Bud are cool, and I have so much belief in Bud, and I know who he is as a fighter. He is one of the greats. So he could do anything, you know, he wants.
And being around both of them and seeing how they work and train and things like that, what makes both of them the fighters they are, in your opinion?
I've watched Bud, so for Bud in particular, he's calm in everything he does, And that kind of calm is scary to watch because it shows experience. You can see that he's been doing this for decades. You can see it with his shadow.
He's human. So he had a few hiccups. He won the fight. He's Terence Crawford. A lot of people say, "Oh, Teddy, you make him so good. You're always saying how great Crawford is." You know, but who's he beating? He unified the what was his first division? Lightweight. Then he unified the junior. Then he unified the junior welter, then he unified the welter. I think I got the weight classes right. It doesn't matter. He unified like 3 different weight classes. He moved up in weight. Guys are tired of me saying it. I look at him. Look, Canelo's special too. I get it. And he's bigger. I get that too. And everyone's going to say, well, after Madrimov fight again, had a couple hiccups. Now he's stepping up another weight class. Now he's got to fight Canelo, who's even bigger, stronger, better puncher. You know, a unified champion that he's been. You know, all of that stuff. He's not going to be able to handle it. I asked this question. See, I go to the other side. I say, okay, yeah, can Canelo handle the smaller guy who's going to be faster, who's going to be slicker, who's going to be better defensively, who's going to have better legs, you know, who's going to be able, sometimes Canelo at this point in his career can slow down a little bit. They're both getting older.
That wraps up today's deep dive into the Crawford versus Canelo mega fight. As the date draws closer, anticipation continues to build around what many are calling a historic battle of styles, eras, and mindsets. Whether you lean toward Canelo's dominance or Crawford's brilliance, one thing is certain: this fight is shaping up to be one of the most anticipated and debated matchups in modern boxing. Stay tuned for more breakdowns, updates, and expert insights.